What's going on, everybody? Today's Sunday, January 20th, 2012. I'm Kevin Sixon Carlino. This is episode number 12 of my Blizzard All-Star series. It's been some time since I've done an episode, but if you can remember, in my previous episode, I actually mentioned that up to that point, I've covered all there is to cover as far as information goes. I've covered all the gameplay mechanics, all that good stuff, already taken care of. You guys should already have all that information. Of course, it's all subject to change. However, my point is, it's all covered. So today's episode is just going to be some recent updates, as well as my general ponderings and speculation for what's in store for us All-Stars fans in 2013. So today's episode, just some small little updates, lots of little stuff compiled into one video, so it should be pretty quick. So first things first, Blizzard All-Stars ladder implementation in Heart of the Swarm beta. I took a nice little screenshot of it, as you guys can see right here. Blizzard All-Stars in the ladder section of the Heart of the Swarm beta, pretty straightforward. Now, the second thing I wanted to show off was actually a recent interview with Mr. Bitter from Hotbit of Team Liquid. Pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to play the whole thing. There's just like 20 seconds or so where they're actually talking about All-Stars. Hotbit is actually talking to Mr. Bitter about new games that the NASL might pick up, and he mentions that he actually got a chance to check out Blizzard All-Stars. Now, he went up there to look at some StarCraft 2 stuff, and I guess he must have seen All-Stars while he was there. But something very interesting kind of caught my attention. He mentions Blizzard is actually working really hard and that it's a full game. What does he mean by full game? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Obviously, he might have just been throwing some words around, but it almost seems like he's implying Blizzard is actually creating a separate game for it. Now, if you remember in my previous episodes, I mentioned that Blizzard's long-term goal was to create, a standalone Blizzard All-Stars product. So, speculation, maybe that's why it's taking so long for this game to come out. Just throwing that out there. Maybe they're going to be releasing it as, a separate AAA standalone product by itself. So, obviously take it with a grain of salt, but definitely keep that in mind. Again, I'm going to have all the links to this stuff in the description below. So I'm not going to play the video, but you'll be able to check it out yourself. See, Mr. Bitter, Hotbit, hanging out, starts at 2:10. Again, I'll have the link in the description below. So next thing, the Sons of the Storm. It's kind of like an unofficial, official Blizzard employee art group for the, art gurus. So anyway, Imagine FX, which I believe is an art magazine, interviewed, I think, Samwise, Chris Metzen, and maybe a couple other people. I don't really know the specifics, but the important thing here is that Samwise actually drew some Blizzard All-Stars art. Pretty cool stuff that I actually went ahead and uploaded to their Facebook page. So now it's up on the Sons of the Storm website. We can check it out here. It's the Blade Master, the ogre dude with the gun, from the camp. There's Zeratul back there. More ogres back here, and then of course the regular creep. So everybody's kind of hanging around fighting. Anyway, my point is, All-Stars art is starting to come through from the Sons of the Storm. This is very, very cool. Again, Sons of the Storm is like an unofficial, official Blizzard art group. I mean, it's unofficial in the sense that it's not actually Blizzard, but it's official in the sense that all of its members are Blizzard employees from the art team. So, cool stuff. Certainly a good thing. The next thing, again, very quick, is the Blizzard All-Stars website from Blizzard's end. It's right on their Battle.net page. Blizzard All-Stars, coming soon-ish. TM, kind of hilarious, but yes, blizzard.com/allstars. Again, I'm going to have all the links to this stuff in the description. Like I said, I'm kind of just running through this stuff pretty quick, because it's all little small things, but, recent updates. So the next thing I wanted to show you guys was actually the Blizzard All-Stars subreddit that I actually just kind of sort of joined. It's been around for a couple months now. Not very much traffic, but again, it's because the game isn't out quite yet, but I definitely want to show that to you guys. There's only a couple posts, but feel free to join. Again, just Blizzard All-Stars, or reddit.com/r/Blizzard All-Stars. So if you guys are interested, definitely head up to the Blizzard All-Stars Reddit. Blizzard's pretty big with the Reddit community. Reddit, WoW, StarCraft, Diablo, those are all pretty big communities, and I'm assuming All-Stars is also going to get relatively big as well as time moves on, and of course once we actually get our hands on the game. But for the time being, it's just the cool kids now, so definitely join, before it's hip. So, next thing I wanted to talk about was the lead game designer position that Blizzard actually opened up for Blizzard All-Stars. So, again, pretty straightforward lead game designer position for Blizzard All-Stars. Lots of good stuff. They actually require some pretty hefty stuff like 5 years of game design experience, which I guess isn't bad if you count, making maps, but must have shipped at least one AAA title. So unfortunately, I can't apply. Oh well. I'm sure whoever does get the job would be pretty good at it, obviously, because Blizzard's a great company. Now, on this note, Jay Wilson actually left the Diablo 3 team. So 7 Years in Sanctuary was the title of his post on the Diablo 3 forums. He actually left his role of, I believe, game director for Diablo 3. And it says that he moved on to a different game within Blizzard. So whether that means Titan or it actually means Blizzard All-Stars is yet to be seen. He actually didn't name any specifics. He said it was a mystery project. So again, whether it's Titan or Blizzard All-Stars, who knows? But in case it is Blizzard All-Stars, I wanted to mention that here. So this last thing I wanted to show off was, again, just this interview with Mike Morhaime that I talked about previously. He actually speaks about esports with Blizzard All-Stars. If I can find it, there you go. So here we go from Mike Morhaime, Blizzard All-Stars. There are other opportunities. We're working on Blizzard All-Stars, which has the potential to be a fun spectator sport and fun to play. We're ready to support it as an esport. Right there. That's the big thing. That's extremely important. That's Mike Morhaime, CEO and founder of Blizzard Entertainment, saying that the company is, ready to support Blizzard All-Stars as an esport. So this is pretty huge. This is definitely a good thing. Combining this with the potential implication that Mr. Bitter was speaking about, that Blizzard's shipping it as a full project, standalone client by itself. Again, this could be a pretty good game, a legitimate title by itself. That's how I'm treating it. So seems like that's how Blizzard will be treating it right off the bat, rather than long term. All very good things, and I believe that's all of the updates I wanted to touch on today. Like I said, lots of small stuff, but I kind of lumped it all into one video. So again, recent updates, and now for my general ponderings and speculation. Now that is, I kind of touched base on this briefly earlier, was that Blizzard may be shipping this as a legitimate product, based on what Mr. Bitter said. So definitely a good thing, especially if it's a standalone product. Hopefully it runs off of like the same StarCraft engine. That way we get all of the features that StarCraft 2 already has. That's a lot of the tools that I was talking about earlier from esports point of view, with replays and observer abilities, all that good stuff that's in StarCraft 2, I was touting as a major thing for Blizzard All-Stars esports. So hopefully we get access to all that stuff for All-Stars as well. But again, everything is subject to change. The game is not yet in beta. I'm assuming they're internally testing it, still developing, etc. Should be out sometime soon. Heart of the Swarm comes out March 13th or 14th. And if it's the 12th, I'm going to shoot myself because I didn't say that. So mid-March, Heart of the Swarm comes out. At that point in time, the StarCraft 2 team will then be able to switch focus and head over to All-Stars full-time rather than just kind of spending some time here and there. Again, this is just my presumption. I don't actually work at Blizzard, so I don't know the specifics, but that seems to be the logical case. Obviously, because they're trying to work full-time on Heart of the Swarm, get that out by the release date, and then, of course, they'll be able to spend much more time on All-Stars. As far as beta goes, I'm really, really hoping to see beta within the next couple of months for Blizzard All-Stars. Would be really cool. Again, I'm just throwing that out there, just an educated guess, my estimation. So take it with a grain of salt, like I've said many a times, because, as I've also said many times, everything's subject to change. Anyway, guys, I definitely did want to do a little update video. Like I said, it's been a while. But I do still have a couple of other videos planned. I wanted to do an art reel still. I want to do a video full of suggestions, but I might wait for more information to come out before I start pumping out some suggestions. So we'll see how things go, but I'm definitely going to be covering Blizzard All-Stars in 2013. So definitely good stuff. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely like it. Check out the rest of the series if you haven't seen them yet. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter @Sixon. All definitely good stuff. And like I said, I'm going to be covering Blizzard All-Stars for 2013. So we'll see where this takes us, guys. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Take it easy.